Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the May 4th, 2020 Informal County Commission meeting. We're going to call the meeting to order. Commissioners, we see that all 21 of you are present online, so we will note that in the record. And just one little quick note, we have some storms approaching, and if for some reason the power goes out, we will reconvene tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Y'all may not lose power, or some of y'all may lose power, or we may lose power. So in case that happens, we will reconvene at 6 o'clock tomorrow night, and we'll do what we need to do to post it and all of those things. So the first item on our agenda is an update from our trustee, Ms. Kimberly Wiggins, on the hotel motel quarterly update. Kimberly, are you ready?
Yes, sir, I'm ready. Well, good evening, everyone.
You go right ahead.
Yes, sir. As the mayor said, we're going to cover, Stone Rudolph and Henry and I are going to cover our update as we committed to every quarter. So Stone Rudolph and Henry will go first. The audit they just completed was for January through September of 2019. And then I will give you an update because they will tell you about some of maybe the overpayments or underpayments, and I will update you on where we are because, of course, if there's an overpayment, we need to collect. If there's an underpayment, we allow a credit. Ben, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, commissioners. During this quarter, or this, I guess, 9-month period that covered January through September 2019, we reviewed or attempted to review 19 hotels or 14 hotels. 10 of them were scheduled to review during this period, and we had 4 that we had carried over from the previous review period. In total, among those 10 that were reviewed, there was a total of underpayments of about $15,000. Of the $15,000, approximately $14,500 of it came from a single hotel. And so 9 of them had a combined underpayment of just a little over $600 for the 9-month period. But like I said, one of them had the majority of it. So I think you have to remember too that these hotels are being reviewed for the first time. So some of these are still part of that learning curve that's going on. In prior years, they've never been reviewed. So a lot of them are gaining knowledge on what's required, what's exempt, what's not exempt during this process. I know Ms. Wiggins has been able to provide them a lot of education during the process as well. So when you're looking at quarter to quarter expecting improvement, these are a new slate of hotels that are being reviewed each quarter. So we've not had any that's come through a second cycle yet to see improvement from the first cycle. I assume everyone's had a chance to look at the report. Was there any questions from the report?
Commissioners, any questions of Mr. Carroll on what he's covered so far? Okay. Go ahead, Ben or Kimberly.
Thank you, Ben, for your report. So the first thing we found when we reported last quarter, we started to see some of those hotels we needed to follow up on. What we asked Stone, Rudolph, and Henry to do was, as they complete an audit, if they see that there is a shortfall, we needed to start our collection efforts more quickly. You'll see that in the next spreadsheet. But on this one, it shows you the letters were sent out, the credits that have come in. And one area where I wanted to point out, as Ben said, one hotel in the fourth quarter, it looked like, if you'll look here, I know it's kind of small, but where it says $4,971 amended. On this report, it looked like they owed us $11,000. We did, because it is the first time auditing, we allowed them to show us their documentation, share their rationale. And when we reconfigured what they really owed us, it was around $6,600 is what they owed us. So when they corrected their forms, they were in line. The others, it shows you the funds that we collected from those hotels. So the QI4 hotel actually paid us what they've owed us. So they're all clear. The next point is Hotel CY at the very top. It shows they owe us $865. They happen to fall into a random audit for Q4 and Q1. So we'll see this number carry over. We didn't want to we sent the collection, but we wanted to see what else would come up because we knew they hadn't had time to correct. CY is also a carryover. It was one of those hotels who didn't get their information to us, so they fell into this particular quarter. And then we'll discuss VP very quickly on the next page. But VP is one of those. When they showed us how they were completing their documents, they were a carryover, and of course, it ended up being quite a bit of information. Their calculations were not following proper protocol, so we did follow up with them. So let's go to the latest quarter here. So Hotel CY, the only additional finding was $10 in July. So they do owe us $875. The letters have been sent. And then just looking at my notes, make sure I give you good updates. So the $875 is a rollover / if you will, a duplicate plus the $10. And we have collected from 4 of these hotels already, and a few of them had overpayments, and we do not issue refunds if there's an overpayment. We allow a collection on the following month after we notify them. That's my report, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Kimberly and Ben. Any questions of our trustee or the auditor, Mr. Carroll? If you would, commissioners, hit your raised hand button. We see no questions. Well, now, and Kimberly, thank you again. Appreciate y'all just getting after this. We really appreciate it. And now we'll go to our county projects update. Mr. Nick Powell.
Evening. Let's see if I can skip. I'm going to try to share my screen so that I can run through there. Okay.
Okay, sure.
All right. We've had a unique situation, I guess, where we've had a few projects where we've been able to close them out, and we were hoping to get to show those off, and maybe we still will. But for the meantime, I'm going to just take you through a few slides, let you see kind of the insides and outsides of them. I'll talk about each one of them for 35 seconds each, and if you've got questions along the way, I guess you can raise your hand and Kyle will interrupt me while I'm talking, or we can talk afterwards. First project that we have completed is the Fredonia Community Center. Of this part, this point where it was almost complete, but not fully complete, that's when the aerials were done on it. You see the primary building and the parking lot off to the left-hand side of it. A back image of that same area, kind of see where the stage area is on the lower left side of the screen. Some of the parking lot that's ready to be paved, but not part of phase 1, still to be paved and still to be lit with a few lights that haven't got funded yet as well. Going back in time a little bit, this is what the facility used to look like if any of you were not previously there, or if you were, just kind of a reminder of where we came from to now where we're at. I know the Parks Department is very proud of this. We had a good job, well completed. It's in good condition at this point, ready to open up the doors as soon as the Parks Department and the county allow it to be opened. Zooming in a little bit more to the front images, kind of see some of the landscaping that's been done, a flagpole, ADA, handicap parking, a nice sign up at the front of the building. We have some historical markers at the front entry that just kind of give a little bit of the history of the site. It kind of brings some of the inside historical components outside as well. Back at the back side of the building, this is kind of the stage area that can be set up for different events. A great set of staircases for wedding photography or whatever the event may be. In the right-hand side of the image, you can see a lowered structure. That is the exterior restroom that will be for the phase 2 component, and also a little bit of storage for the Parks Department. Moving inside of the facility, this is the auditorium, the old gymnasium. All of this is the original hardwood floor, except for some of the areas that we had to fully replace for safety. Just some of it was damaged. But you can see even in the forefront of that image that we really tried hard to salvage the flooring, and even the skeleton of the building is mostly original. Turned around from the other view, this is back with the original gymnasium. It's not an original backboard goal that's up there, but that was one that was fabricated to kind of take this back to the historical feel. You're looking back toward the front of the project now into the main lobby and entry. Moving over to one of the main wings of the building, this is the historic classroom. Did a great job with exhibitry, furniture, furnishings. The park's done a good job, as well as our exhibit producer that put all this together. The back side of that image, just more historic imagery. We threw a barn door style door in there just to give it a little bit more historic feel. One of the other historical rooms, this is right off the main lobby. This is more of a community history than the school room itself history. It has a lot of memorabilia in there from Pathead Summit, which is the image that you see off to the left now. Back off to the front, we have screens that were put on each facility or in each room for really an overflow condition, so that people outside of the auditorium in a larger event can see what's going on in there, or it can be completely separate, however it needs to be. This is across the entry foyer, a large multi-purpose room. It goes right into the kitchen, can be used for larger events, well set up and positioned correctly for what the events would need to be. If no questions on the Fredonia Center, I'll move right into the Rotary Park Nature Center, show the progress on that. A little aerial images kind of showing what the facility looks like from the front end. A lot more work's been done on the front since that image was taken, but that's the last aerial that we have available to us. You can kind of see the darker color up front is the paint scheme that was chosen. It'll be highlighted by red windows. The soil area up front has been brought up. That's going to be a large landscaping bed that will really look nice and accent the Nature Center and kind of be an exhibit all to itself with that landscaping. Round back, kind of tucked in close to the wood line, we've got an overlook structure. Even in the wintertime, you can kind of see all the way down through the wood line into the creek. It's been a pretty view. Another image turned off the other direction back toward the building. You can kind of see some of the stone exterior that's used on the lower levels, and then the siding that's used on the upper level. All that will be painted out. The deck is a nice composite decking that'll last a long time, good for maintenance purposes. Moving inside, this is kind of the front foyer looking in toward the left there. You see the reception area. And the right will be exhibits for the Nature Center. Fairly large room set up to give quite a bit of exhibit storage space. Moving off toward the right-hand side of the facility as you walk in is the large meeting room. This is a rentable space for Parks Department. Have a nice fireplace right in the middle, all exposed beams, exposed hangers, kind of really gives it that rustic look that the architect was going for. Looking back toward the lobby from that room, we have a window that's available directly into a warming kitchen. Not a full-fledged kitchen, but enough to be able to utilize that for rentable function. In the lobby, kind of looking toward the front of the building, that's the window that's seen from the front of the building. Give that exhibit area more natural daylight and a little more elevation in that room as well. All those walls up top will be cladded in, but again, the same exposed wood beams and columns. Back into the public area of This is in a breezeway actually that's outside of the main facility. It's attached with the restroom. Similar feel. They have not gotten the restroom partitions put up yet, but that will soon be coming in after all of the fixtures are installed, and you can see the tile is up there to give it a little bit of accent. Our third project, Public Safety Training Complex. This is a large project and a wet project all winter long. All projects have been wet, but this has been exceptionally a tough project to work through. You can see kind of the expanse. This is the range itself. The roadway was secured prior to all the winter and the wet weather, so they were able to continue working down there. But you can kind of see dotted into the images all the bedrock down in there. We experienced a lot of bedrock excavation, and they're still working on some of that. They've pretty much gotten probably 85% of the grading work done, maybe 90%, but still challenging between rain showers and dry out days to be able to move all that to the site where it needs to be moved. Parking lot off to the left-hand side. In that image, kind of right in the center, you can see the form worker where they're starting the facility when these aerial images were taken. And now the site as is, off to the right-hand side, you can see the structure going up, the boxes kind of out in the forefront, or a canopy system that's going up in the background. You can kind of see the height and the extent of the grading that is taking place to produce those berms around the shooting range. Closer image of the canopy footers and kind of how that will extend out. This is the larger rifle range off on this side. Pistol range would be off on the other side of the building. You can see all the bedrock mixed in with the soil, and you can see off to the right-hand side pockets of water. They've battled that throughout the entire winter, and they've really done a good job continuing progress on work despite poor conditions with the rain and the weather that's out there. Plenty of equipment out there. When it does dry out and this crew is able to move, they've got the forces, the workforces, and the equipment to get done a lot of work in short time periods of dry weather. This image was also taken a little while ago. This was right when they were trying to install the metal ceiling joist, the metal truss work. It's a little bit more complete than that. In another image of putting the trusses into place. The roof is on now, and they were actually drying in the roof today and hopefully tomorrow to get that building fully dried in from the top. Looking on the inside of the building, still had at this point some walls to put up, but in the process, all the rough end plumbing, electrical was being completed. The next completed project is our public safety complex second floor renovation. We moved one of their walls toward the lobby to give the warrant space a little bit more room. This is going to be the area that the warrants will use, furnish out. Some temporary holding cells that were put up for that purpose, and the magistrate office that was slightly renovated. New window that was in from booking. Veterans Plaza roof restoration, that project is ongoing right now as well. They have cleaned the section of the roof under phase one that is going to be done. They do with scrubbers, with steam, all of the material off that roof so that the new membrane would, or the new coating would adhere properly to that. And just take you through a quick process of what happens on that roof. They spray on a primer that lets the coating that's going to be there permanently attached to that existing membrane that was cleaned off previously. They have a two-part component that mixes together for both a binder and a topping coat. They mix that on the roof. It's very low odor. It was specifically chosen because of the low odor and the life expectancy. That's going to be a 20-year new warranty on that roof. The first step after the primer is they put on this gray coating and then roll out a fabric that will act as a reinforcing membrane. Once they get that down, fully rolled out, they pull a little bit more on top of it, completely coat that reinforcing membrane. That will provide us better puncture resistance on this roof when it's done than what the previous roof ever provided. And after the gray primer coat goes down, or the binder coat, the white coat that you see in the outline there is put on. That is a UV resistant. That is what's going to make that roof last the 20-year warranty period that we're paying for. Then they just continue that process through multiple sections. And as we get done with phase 1 and hopefully get into phase 2, that entire will be white. It will be more energy efficient in the summertime because of the reflective index on it. So the cooling loads will hopefully be seen because the cooler roof color than the black. The third project that we have completed and is ready to start moving in this month, as soon as we can get a final punch list done, they will start moving their furniture into the Veteran Service Organization. Good project, ran very smooth, quicker. We're I'm almost a month and a half ahead of schedule opening this job up. New front lobby. This is coming in. This is a lobby that's shared with the front of the IT department, but they will have section up there, a lot more seating storage than what they have right now. I'm going to look back at the reception. This is ADA compliant. It is providing the receptionist a little more protection from the public than what they currently have. That was a request. So I think all that worked out real well, set up. ADA compliant restrooms, water fountains, all within the lobby area. So that will accommodate more guests than what they can right now. Looking from the reception back into the lobby, all new cabinetry, just a generic office look. There's give or take about 12 offices capable, plus reception area. A couple of those are reserved for storage and filing up front, but this kind of exceeds their current needs, gives them a little bit of room for growth in the future. And look at their new conference room, just kind of an accent wall to give that something to break up their space. So that is the extent of project update with the current projects, the major projects that are going on right now. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Nick, thank you so much. Commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Smith, Joe Smith.
Hey, Nick, I just wanted to say I really appreciate everything that you and Jerry and Phil Holt have accomplished out there at Fredonia Community Center. I know the grand opening got postponed due to the COVID situation, but I cannot wait to let that open up to the community. I think it's going to be a great asset out here in this area.
Thank you. My team's done a good job of that. Parks has done a great job, and the design team and the exhibit team have all done really well to pull together and have a great project. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions of Nick? All right, Nick, appreciate it. Thanks for all y'all do, man.
Thank you.
Commissioners, now we'll go into our zoning resolutions. And commissioners, as you are all very keenly aware, Governor Lee issued an executive order allowing us to have meetings like this and also address the public hearing portion of meetings. I do want to know that we have put a process in place that you have voted on. We have provided a way for the public to submit their comments. We have received comments on one of the zoning cases that is noted in your Dropbox on page 53. And it's related to CZ 7 2020. But we're going to start with CV 4 2020. That's on page 27 of your Dropbox. And we're going to turn it over to Mr. John T. Spainhoward with the Planning Commission. John T.
Yes, Mayor, with your permission, can I give a couple of updates we've had with the Planning Commission this Because we
Sure.
haven't been in front of you guys for a couple months.
Sure.
Okay. I want to jump back to February. I know that seems like a long, long time ago with the present situation, but at the Planning Commission in February, our longtime sign contractor notified us that he was no longer going to be in operation. So with the help of both the city and county leadership, we were having to hunt down a sign contractor in less than a month to accomplish what we currently had. And with their direction, there was a couple of things that they wanted us to entertain, which included increasing the sign size from the current or the old style of 2x3 to a 4 foot by 4 foot. So through the month of March, we used the old signs. The March meeting was canceled due to COVID-19. So there was a double up of signs, which we put the new ones out. So I think some of y'all may have seen them out there, 4 foot by 4 foot, the increased size. We increased the fonts of the lettering to make them easier to read from the roadway, reduced the verbiage, took off the public hearing information and the specific zoning designations because when we tried to add those, it became extremely difficult to read. And then we put the phone number of the office and the website. We have received some comments from the general public, and so far it's been well received. The information that we removed, we think we're allowing us to better serve the community by priding ourselves in having somebody answer the phone at our office in real time and then answering questions specific to that application. And what I noticed specifically with the COVID-19 situation, that afford us the opportunity to explain in detail the public hearing processes that's been amended for both the city and the county and the Planning Commission. I think it's also important to touch on that, the public hearing process for the Planning Commission. Anybody who submitted an email the day prior to the Planning Commission meeting, we read every email that we had into the record. I think we had a record 4-hour Planning Commission meeting last week. So that's a little bit of the update of where we're at and how we got here. And I'll be more than happy to dive into the zoning cases this time.
Our first case is CZ4 2020 application of Rick Rita from AG to R1. John T.
Yes, and Skip, if you'll go through the slides, what you have here is the large-scale aerial overview, the crosshatch property in question. This property will share frontage off an existing subdivision there that's off of Morningstar Drive, which ties into Ogburn Chapel. Next slide. This is the zoomed in close. You see the crosshatch area, the request. While we're on this screen, I'll touch on one of the public comments we received. This is the former Eagles Nest site, and I believe Mr. Rita's mother used to run the Eagles Nest Event Center back there, and it had an access that shared right there above the OG on Ogburn Chapel. There is an easement there, and that joining property owner wanted to make sure that they weren't accessing the subdivision through that easement. As you can see, Bumblebee Way does tie into the back portion of that, and both of those subdivisions on the Double R Boulevard and Bumblebee Way, Morningstar, are both developments that Mr. Rita has had in the past. This request encompasses 16 acres, and you can go to the next slide. This shows the zoning that's in the area. Both of those subdivisions that surround it are currently R1. Next. This shows the access there off Bumblebee. In the next slide, we'll show a close-up there. The property where you see the grass in the background, that field, and where the debris is piled at the end of the roadway is a portion of this request. Next. Just another wider angle of the photo. Next. That gives a little bit more detail. Keep going, please. That's the reverse that you're looking back to where you saw that cul-de-sac on the other end of the property. The wood pile there is some trees that's being cleaned up on the property. Next slide. This is the driveway. This is where the easement begins on Mr. Rita's property. And you can see the event center there in the background. Keep going. And that's a reverse looking back towards Ogburn Chapel. Again. This is one of the old style signs. This is where that easement tied into the front of the property. Okay. And then we're back to the map. This request is to go from ag to R1 single family. It encompasses 16 acres. It would be an extension of both the R1 classification to the east, west, and north. It's currently, as you saw in the photographs, grassland with rolling hills and tree lines. And you saw the home site and the small event hall. The reason for the request is stated by the applicant on the application is they would like to develop a residential subdivision, and the zoning change would be an extension of the existing zoning classification. This is the planned growth area and the planned area of Woodlawn. The next page of your staff report shows that there were no department comments of any concern received in reference to this application. On page 3 of the staff report, with this zone change, you'll have increased single-family residential density. Historical estimates indicate roughly 30 lots, and the staff's recommendation for approval. The proposed zoning request is consistent with the adopted land use plan. The R1 zoning request is an extension of the existing R1 zoning and subdivisions to the east, west, and north, and adequate infrastructure serves the site, and no adverse environmental issues have been identified relative to this request. Page 4 of the staff report is the same slide you saw, and 5 is the one slide that's currently on the screen. Page 6 goes back to the zoning map. On page 7, the comment I referenced earlier, the adjoining property owner to the south has seen there, had questions about the easement access to the subject tract and does not wish for the subdivision to tie through the property. And based on what we reviewed, that does not appear to be the case. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions, Mayor.
Any questions of Mr. Spain Howard?
I've got Commissioner Joe Smith, but it may be left over.
Commissioner Smith, your hand raised button is showing it may be left over. Do you have a question?
No, sir.
Okay, that's okay. All right, seeing no questions. CZ 5 2020, this application was withdrawn for the Regional Planning Commission. So we'll go to the next case, CZ 6 2020, application of Roger D. Perry Jr. from R1 to C2. Mr. Spain Howard, the microphone's yours.
Yes, sir. This request is to go from R1 to C2. It fronts on the north frontage of Highway 12, approximately 935 feet east of the Highway 12 and Hickory Point intersection. And that'd be on the left side of this photograph that you currently have on the screen. Presently zoned R1, and the request is to go to C2. Next slide, Skip. This is a zoomed aerial of the property in question. For those that may have some questions in the latter part. At the bottom of the picture is the Excel Market. There is a mechanic shop or a car lot that's directly to the left. And then on the top left-hand corner, that's a former cabinet shop. I believe it's been a gymnastics studio. And what it currently is skips me at the moment. But next slide. This is the zoning map overview of the property that's in the area. The Excel Market and the Auto Center that's to the south is currently C2, where the former cabinet shop was located. With C2, and then there's a sliver of C1 that shows up as the light blue color. I'm not sure that property is even usable, but it was rezoned in 2003 to go to C1. The crosshatched area of the request is roughly 2.5 acres. We'll point out that the rear portion of this property, about 6.5 acres, also belongs to Mr. Perry. The zone line makes it look like it's separated, but this is all one large tract, and he's just rezoning the front portion. Next slide. This is the view of the site from the Excel Market parking lot. Slide. This is across the street, the Smart Choice Auto Center. Next slide. This is looking away from Clarksville. The site would be on the left, starting roughly where the telephone pole is, and then there's a home where the car sits. Next slide. And that is the home that I referenced, and you see the same car there. This property would be the property on the adjacent to heading back to Clarksville. Next slide. This just kind of shows you the view down Highway 12 looking back towards Clarksville. Next slide. And this is the back to the overview. I will state that the property, the street does transition from 3 lanes wide in front of Excel Market, and the transition in front of the property back to 2, heading back towards Clarksville. Property is currently an existing grassland field, as you saw in the photographs. The reason for the request stated by the applicant on his application is this is an extension of the existing zoning classification from the south, and this would allow the owner to have commercial options, including his lawn and landscape equipment sales and repair. This property currently lies in the UGB and the Sango planning area. The next page of the staff report for this application, the Gas and Water Department for the City of Clarksville stated that there is no sewer available currently. At the very bottom of the staff report, I will point out that a traffic assessment has been submitted and indicated no change in the level of service to Highway 12. And we specifically asked them to address site distance, because when I visited the site, there appeared there could potentially be an issue, and the site distance came back meeting appropriate design standards from an engineering standpoint. Next page of the staff report, this zoning request would increase traffic, light, and noise potential on the property. As I stated earlier, it would be served by city water, but no sewer is currently on site. It would be accessible to Highway 12. This is in the Sango planning area, and the staff's recommendation is for approval. The proposed zoning request is consistent with the adopted land use plan. The C2 General Commercial District is not out of character with the existing uses in the area, and it is an extension of the existing C2 district to the southwest. Adequate infrastructure does serve the site, and no adverse environmental issues were identified relative to this request. Page 11 are the photographs that you currently have available to you in the presentation. On page 14 of the staff report, there were no public comments received in reference to this application. I will state that I did take a phone call with someone asking about the new sign being located on this property and what it meant, but they said they had no comments specific to the application. They just wanted to know what the sign was for. And I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner Harper?
Thank you, Mayor. John, just a couple of, just for public record, I've had a couple of concerns issued to me from constituents. This is in my district. A couple of concerns I've got is this is a very busy road. It's just under the hill from an intersection that we know is problematic, which is Hickory Point and XL Road. The sight distance going up a hill, transitioning from 3 lanes to 2 lanes. I travel this road frequently myself, and I can't see where the sight distance problem could be alleviated. Maybe it can, but can you give us a little more clarity on the sight distance issue?
Yes, I'll be
John
more
King?
happy to answer that. As part of the traffic assessment, we did ask for the site distance to be analyzed. The engineering assessment came back and said that it met the minimum threshold by engineering standards. To go into greater detail, this assessment details what they have proposed and shows that they can create a safe driveway access to the property. If this rezoning does take place and a development application is submitted to the Planning Commission, further studies could be also required, knowing specifically where they want to tie that driveway to. That assessment would also have to go to TDOT because Highway 12 is a state highway, or driveway connection permit, and it would be reviewed by their engineers as well. If at any point in time it's found that that can't be met, then there would not be a driveway access permit issued, nor would we release a site plan if it did not obtain that permit.
And another question, John, is it an extension of an existing zoning if there is a R1 next to it? I mean, I know there's C2 on the other side of Highway 12, but is that really an extension of zoning?
Yes, sir. In both the city zoning ordinance and the county zoning resolution, although your maps do not depict it, the zone lines go to center line of highways. So the zoning from the south side where Excel Market would go to the center line of Highway 12, and this proposal would tie to the other half of center line. But just for the ease of making maps readable, we don't show the zone lines go to the property line.
Okay. Good enough. Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other questions of Mr. Spain Howard on CZ 6 2020? We see no questions, so we'll now go to CZ 7 2020, application of Curtis Harshaw from AG to AGC. Commissioners, I will note again on page 53 of your Dropbox, there is a public comment that was submitted by Mr. Curtis Harshaw. John T., go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. CZ 7 2020 is the application of Curtis Harshaw. It's request to go from AG district to Ag Commercial, which is AGC, and it encompasses this entire tract of 9.43 acres. Property fronts on the south frontage of Jim Kim Road, approximately 2,150 feet west of the Jim Kim Road and Highway 13 intersection. If you're looking at this map, Highway 13 is just below the halfway mark, going left to right there on your map and your screen. And you'll see the crosshatch area below the RD in Jim Kim Road. That's 9.43 acres. Next slide. This is a more close-up view of the property. Next slide. This shows the zoning that's around the area. You have that it's primarily all agricultural except for the EM1 portion there on the upper left-hand corner. Next slide. What you're looking at here is Jim Kim Road. So this view would have been if you've come down Highway 13 away from Clarksville and take a right on the Jim Kim and travel that 2,150 feet, you'll see the request area on the left. Believe that structure you see framed up on the left-hand side of the screen is the pole barn that derived the reasoning behind this application. Next slide. This shows the pole barn construction. I believe that's where Mr. Harshaw plans to move his business. And on my screen, I believe the heavy wind event we had right after we put the signs below the left-hand corner there, you may be able to see a copy of one of the new signs. It's laid over. It was put back up the following day. Those that have a question about that. Next slide. This is looking back towards Highway 13. The request would be on the right-hand side. Next slide. And this is the other half of Mr. Harshaw's property. So they're a little bit out of order, but the pole barn would be on the left, and this would be to the right. This would be the all-encompassing frontage of Jim Kim Road. And the business is currently located being operated there. Next slide. This is just another view, wide angle, trying to catch both so you can see those two frontages tied together on the left. Next slide. And this is the aerial overview of the property in question again. I will state that Mr. Harshaw's reasoning for the application is that he would like to use the property for a small engine repair shop. It's currently an existing clear track with a single family home and an existing non-compliant small engine repair business. This is in the rural area of Montgomery County's growth plan, and it's in the Cumberland planning area. On page 16 of the staff report, there were no department comments received in reference to this application. I think this is a good time. My understanding in conversations with the building commissioner, Mr. Rod Streeter, is they had an inquiry about the construction location of the pole barn and at what point in time that their inspectors went out and saw the operation that was there. Mr. Harshaw was given the opportunity to remove the business or bring it into compliance. And one of the processes to bring it into compliance is to apply for the appropriate zoning. So that's why you have this application in front of you today. Page 17 of the staff report. This has the potential to increase traffic, light, and noise. Water source is Cunningham Utility District. Would be served from septic, and this only frontage is off Jim Kim Road. The staff's recommendation is for disapproval, and the proposed zoning request is inconsistent with the adopted land use plan. The proposed ag commercial district appears to be out of character with the surrounding area. And adequate infrastructure does serve the site, and no adverse environmental issues were identified relative to this request. Briefly, I just noticed something that I skipped over on those other applications. Both the staff and the planning commission on CZ4 and CZ6 were both for recommendations for approval. That's CZ4 and CZ6 were both staff and RPC recommendations for approval. On CZ7, both the staff and the planning commission are for disapproval. And the reason: the proposed zoning request is inconsistent with the adopted land use plan. The proposed ag commercial district appears to be out of character with the surrounding area. And adequate infrastructure serves the site, and no adverse environmental issues were identified relative to this request. Page 18 is the zoning maps that you saw a moment ago, 18 and 19, 20. 21 is where we logged the public comments. Page 22 is a public comment that we received in favor of the application. This was read into the record at the Planning Commission as part of the public hearing. There were no opposition emails or phone calls received in reference to this application. And I did make contact because we didn't have a comment from Mr. Harshaw, but you should have a copy as part of your report. I got a hold and made sure that Mr. Harshaw knew how to get information to you commissioners. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions about the Planning Commission meeting or the staff report.
Any questions of Commissioner Knight?
Yes, I know we spoke, Mr. Spainhour, earlier in reference to CZ7, but just for point of clarification, you said it's inconsistent. The proposed zoning is inconsistent with what's currently there. Could you just explain what's currently there in that area?
Yes, on the wide angle zoning map, it's Jim Kim Road's primarily a residential street. I think that would be the simplest way to explain it. If you were to traverse that entire street like I did, it's just another home after another. It's low density residential. And what's being proposed is a commercial operation in the midst of a residential area. So that's the primary reason it would be viewed as out of character.
So currently it's AG. And what's the primary difference between AG and AGC?
The uses that are permitted, agricultural we treat as primarily a residential zone because you can obtain a residential building permit. Agricultural uses are permitted, farms and things of that nature. Commercial has a list of uses that can be found in the zoning resolution on the use matrix. I think some of the most common recent zoning cases were tied to like an event hall, small engine repair is what this gentleman's proposing. It would be permissible there. Another ag commercial request was a distillery request, a small scale distillery, roughly down the road from this location. So,
and the C2 allows for distillery as well, doesn't it?
C2 General Commercial District? Yes, a C2 General Commercial District would allow for a small scale distillery as well.
So then the primary differentiation between AGC and a C2 would be that the AGC preserves more of the rurality of that area, does it not? I'm just asking.
I don't think you're off base with that. Yes, ag commercial is intended to preserve some rural nature of the property. One specific issue with ag commercial versus C2 on this property would be setbacks, which I think is what triggered the call to the Building and Codes Department.
Right.
C2 would have a 25-foot side yard setback. Ag commercial would have a 20. I'm not sure the exact location of that property, but that may come into play as to why it may be sitting at that 20-foot mark instead of 25.
So there wouldn't be too much of an issue having it rezoned to AGC. And based off of the Planning Commission's meeting that they had Wednesday, the only reason why it got voted down was because of one tie-breaking vote, correct?
Well, I wouldn't say but only one vote because there were 4 votes cast in favor, 4 votes cast in opposition. There was a tie-breaking vote, so there was 5 votes against it to 4.
So that, like I said, there was just a tie-breaking vote, right?
Yes, the chairman did cast a vote, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Pritchard.
Commissioner Pritchard?
But Commissioner Knight mentioned as far as the RPG having a tie vote, but the main problem, the main issue on this originally was the fact that the pole barn had caused some inquiries. The small engine repair shop, even though he was working without his permits at that time, of which he thought he was, and he didn't realize that he hadn't rezoned his business for that area. I don't see any problem with him having this small engine repair shop lawn service, especially in an area where there is nobody being served in this type of business. I understand that the pole barn is probably going to meet all the requirements because they did give him the option of coming into compliance. So I would recommend to my commissioners that maybe we could consider this next week.
Anybody else?
Commissioner Joe Smith.
Commissioner Joe Smith?
I just want to say for public record here again, this is kind of the same situation we were in back with the Skilled Craft Distillery. All right. You have a veteran, served his country, served his time, moved back here to Montgomery County where we claim to support veterans all the time. Now, as far as Ag C is concerned, we were talking about that the last time this came up with Skilled Distillery. That has to have a commercial product that supports agriculture. Working on lawnmowers and farm equipment supports local agriculture. I don't care who it is. So if he's working on a small tractor engine, he's supporting agriculture. There should not be any reason that the staff or whoever disapproved their recommendation to go to Ag C when that is his intended use. And it's already been in use. He was just non-compliant at the time. I say we give this veteran a fair shot and help make his American dream come true. That's it.
Anybody else?
No, sir, but everyone that just asked a question needs to drop their hand.
Okay. Everyone that asked a question, if you would, drop your hand on your computer. We see no other questions. Mr. Spain-Howard, we appreciate it. Commissioners, again, I will bring to your attention under our new public comment protocol based on Governor Lee's orders. On page 53 of your Dropbox is a public comment from Mr. Curtis Harshaw, who is the applicant on this case. So we'll now,
Sorry, Commissioner Garland Johnson just raised.
Commissioner Garland Johnson, you have a question?
Yes, sir. This is not in reference to Mr. Harshaw's rezoning request. It's actually when Mr. Spainhauer was giving his update prior to the zoning cases, we just kind of went right into the first zoning case. So this just kind of references back to that. I just want to make sure I'm understanding completely that we went to a larger sign with less information. That the actual zoning request that is happening on that property is actually not being displayed on the sign as it was on the smaller sign that they were using previously. And if that is the case, I would say that that kind of goes against everything that we push for transparency in government.
Thank you, sir. Any other
Mayor, if I
questions?
may.
Who?
Spain-Howard City, you want to respond to that?
Yeah, John T., you want to respond to that?
Yes, sir. I'd be more than happy to. And we understand the concerns because I've heard it from some other individuals and it was discussed internally. Over the years of taking phone calls, in the neighborhood of 10 years of taking zoning phone calls, we've received questions during the process. We've received comments after the process. we put the information on there, and frankly, for many cases, individuals don't know what those designations are. And there's been, over the years, people have made assumptions of what they mean and didn't call in. And then in that case, they were upset after the fact. We felt it's better to take every case and take as many phone calls and answer as many questions as possible. Also, it's easier to read without all the information on there. As you've seen over the years, we've had some zoning cases that changed 3 different zones I can think of in the city, and it gets very confusing to the general public. So we went with the decision that less was more, and to put our phone number and website on there prominently and answer as many questions as we can about the process. So that's the basis of it. And also understand we can't please everyone, but hopefully you understand where we're coming from.
To some extent, I do, but honestly, if you have a person that works at night and sleeps during the day and they drive by a property that's close to them and they want to know what's going on, that's really going to kind of put that person out. Not everyone has an office job that works during the day, so they may have to take time out of their break or on their lunch, and then they have to hope that when they call your office that the lines are not currently tied up with other people calling for other issues. If they're put on hold, they may not have time to wait. Honestly, it kind of confuses me that we would go to a larger sign, but remove the pertinent information because there's no room. It just doesn't quite seem to add up to me.
Yeah. I'd also like to remind everyone that the only notice that is required by law is a notice in the newspaper that many people don't ever see. We go a step further and we send anyone within 100 feet of that property gets a very detailed letter explaining what the request is, reference to where they can obtain maps to what the request is. This is just a general notice sign for those that are passing by. Our website information is also on there.
Yes.
Not to steal Mr. Tyndall's thunder, I think he'll be happy to announce that in the next couple of months, we're having a renovated website that will make it much more user-friendly, and individuals will be able to obtain more information specific to these applications on there. So this is kind of part of a multi-part effort. The website is there, our phone number's there, and like I said, out of the phone calls we took this month, they were primarily related to the Wooten case on Warfield Boulevard, which was in the city. Everybody seemed, the general public seemed favorable to the signs.
Commissioner Riccone, did you have a comment?
Yes, Mayor. Serving on the RPC, and this is directly to Mr. Harshaw's application. And I believe we're having great discussion, and that's really what our job is. On the RPC, John T. and that staff do a tremendous job, and they have applications and they have what's permitted, and then they make a recommendation. And the board, this one, it was a tie both ways. Approval was a tie for disapproval, and it took a deciding vote. And you know, just for the one thing, you kind of being on that committee, then coming to the commission. I don't always agree with their recommendation. You know, we've had that conversation and agree with them many times, but not always. And this was one of those tough ones to me. I think the RPC sends it to us exactly like it should be. I don't really think the RPC says, well, the rules say this, but we think otherwise. So, you know, when it comes to the commission, we have to remember they're just applying the black and white to it. And this is a great example of, at the RPC level, there is probably a recommendation for disapproval. When it gets to our level, this is the time we look at it. You know, look at it from the 1,000-foot view and then try to drill down into it. So they, you know, I appreciate what all their research and their recommendations to us. But you know, just when we're thinking about these, again, I follow their recommendation, not 100%, but they're reporting to us. They're recommending disapproval or approval based upon our current guidelines, and it's our job to maybe look a little past that, because we can take into account factors that the RPC, when I vote at the RPC, I don't take into account factors that I do when I vote at the commission, because our rules are a little different on what we can and aren't supposed to consider. So this was a tricky one. I think Mr. Harshaw is doing what he's doing it the right way, and believe he's trying to support his community and have nothing against him and want him to succeed. But I also don't want to misconstrued or anybody to misread when the RPC comes out what it's doing.
Thank you, Commissioner Riccone.
Mayor, I have one
Commissioner
other
Hodges.
thing to add from the Planning Commission.
Commissioner Hodges.
Thank you, Mayor. Couldn't find my hand. I've talked to Mr. Hardshaw on 2 or 3 different occasions when this first came up with him. Super nice young man. All of the people in this community that I talked to has no problem whatsoever with him having a small engine repair shop there. And I understand, Commissioner Smith, what you're coming from. Now we're looking at the same zoning as the whiskey distillery. We had a community against that. Here we have a community that's wanting to keep it. And I will be voting for it next week. And I urge the rest of the commissioners to look at it strongly. This man gives a lot of his time to our local volunteer fire department. And just a super nice young man that, like Riccone said, he's trying to do what's right now. And I think we're here, we can help him. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hodges. We see no other comments. We will now leave and go into our resolutions. Our first resolution is 25-1, resolution to request unclaimed balance of accounts remitted to the state treasurer under Unclaimed Property Act. Commissioners, this is something that we do every year where we request to the state treasurer to pay the unclaimed balance of funds in accordance with TCA 6629-121. Any questions? Commissioner Knight?
Yes, I had a couple constituents ask, because usually I post a copy of the agenda prior to the meeting, and they were wondering if there's anywhere posted the amounts, because there's no amounts posted in reference to this particular item.
Jeff Taylor, do you know what the amounts are or where they may be posted?
No, sir, we don't know those amounts until they're sent back to us from the state.
So basically you have to request it first and then they provide it with you.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And those funds the only thing that you can use from those funds is the interest earned from them. We cannot use the funds themselves.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions regarding 25-1? Commissioners, without objection, that item will be put on the consent agenda. Resolution 25-2 is a resolution to endow the Industrial Development Board of the County of Montgomery to continue to include within its annual budget previous approved funds for the purchase of land and now redirect such funds to the proposed business park on Dunlop Lane. I know Mr. Tate's on the call. Frank, do you want to give a quick overview of 25-2? Your volume's not on.
This is a good opportunity for the county in the IDB in partnership with the city to develop a office complex located on Dunlop Lane. I've talked to many of you, sent several of you all emails about what we have going on with this project. A lot of great opportunity, and if any of you have any questions, I'd like to answer those accordingly. Thank you.
Frank, we lost some of your audio for a second. We heard you say we've talked to many of you, and that's about where we lost you.
Yes, sir. I've spoken with many of you about this particular project. As you all know, we started due diligence on this several months ago. for the these funds. And
We lost you. You're breaking up real
if you all
bad,
have any
Frank.
further questions about this project, please feel free to ask.
Commissioners, any
Connectivity
questions of
is-
Mr. Tate? I know what he tried to say was not real plain. Maybe he can answer a question. Who?
Can you hear me now?
Commissioner Beal?
Yes, thank you. Are you able to hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so I do have two questions. First question is if I'm understanding correctly, we're wanting to take already allotted funds and transfer it to a different project. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so we're not asking for any new money.
No new money.
Gotcha. And my second question is, how much is the city putting towards this as well?
This is a 75-25 match. How we came to that number, Commissioner Bill, was based on incurred taxes. So the county will be participating. There's we'll call it $600,000 portion a year, and the city will be contributing $200,000 a year.
But this is located inside the city, correct?
It's
Am I
in the
understanding?
county as well.
Well, right, I understand that, but I'm just trying to understand what the portions are. What would the city not put more towards it?
Since Frank's audio is pretty bad, maybe I can somewhat try to explain it. When we built, or when the city and the county built the industrial park out between Rossview Road and Dunlop Lane, that interlocal agreement, the sale of any properties associated with that was a 50-50 split. And 100% of it was in Montgomery County. And so the city didn't collect any property tax dollars from that. And so in this particular arrangement, as property is sold, Montgomery County will get 75% of the proceeds, and the city of Clarksville will get 25% of the proceeds. So it's really kind of based on the overall tax base.
Thank you.
I tell the interlocal will be attached on Monday night.
Tim Harvey just said the interlocal agreement will be attached on Monday night. I thought it was on there. Commissioner Pritchard?
Yes, I just wanted to say, right now, we're poised to be in a great position for this corporate business park developed here in Montgomery County. Nashville's announced that they're in trouble, and a lot of businesses that are looking in this area of the country, especially Tennessee, we're looking towards Nashville. They're not going to be looking towards Nashville now. They will be looking towards, hopefully, north instead of south. I think that if we have facilities that are available and ready, that we will attract a lot of corporate business. We have a airport as well. So I'm hoping that we can look at this seriously and go forward with this. We have graduates, and I feel sorry for what's happened with them, but we have graduates that can work here in Montgomery County in their fields, hopefully, and make a wage that they wouldn't have to go to Nashville to get. So I think that this is something that all our commissioners should seriously consider next week. Thank you.
Commissioner Garland Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, honestly, the only thing wrong with this proposal is that it didn't happen 20 years ago. We are overdue. I think it's a wonderful idea, and I think we should get behind it.
Thank you. Commissioner Harper.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to say anything that we can do to grow the average base salary of our community, I think is a great effort. So I'm definitely supportive. And I would encourage our other commissioners to be supportive as well. Thank you.
Commissioner Knight.
Well, I think that if there's no new money involved and it's going to attract businesses, that's going to provide, some good jobs for people in our community. I think it will pretty much benefit our community. So I don't see this as a bad thing.
Commissioner Joe Smith.
I'll just kind of reiterate what Commissioner Johnson said. You're not thinking 20 years ahead, you're already 20 years behind. And this is a project that's long overdue for here to bring those blue collar type jobs here to raise our average wage. And I think it's a great idea.
Anybody else? All right. That seems
Mayor,
like.
Can you hear me, Mayor?
Yeah, I can hear you, Commissioner Woodruff.
I don't know what's
You
going on.
didn't hit your hand raise button, but go right ahead.
Oh, it's up.
I want to hear you.
It's been up since CZ4, but nevertheless, I've driven around Clarksville, and today I had an opportunity to go to Hopkinsville. And between Clarksville and Hopkinsville, there's an astronomical growth taking place, and I think we have to have a place to bring professionals in to work as well. So I fully support this resolution and reallocate these funds.
Thank you, sir. We see no other hands raised. Commissioners, next is Resolution 25-3. And without objection, we will suspend the rules on next Monday night to hear this resolution. It's a resolution amending budget of the Montgomery County Clerk's Office for the purpose of adding glass partitions to the clerk's office. Commissioners, I can tell you that this is really just Ms. Jackson has this money in her budget. It's moving some monies from part-time personnel to other contracted services. Today, she had under phase 1 of our reopening plan, she was allowing 10 customers in her building and opened her drive up back up. And by probably 2:30 today, they had already seen over 1,000 customers. That actually saw 1,800 total today. We actually, the facilities built some temporary partitions made out of plexiglass, but they're just not working. And for the volume that comes in there, this will be a permanent fix for her. We want to look at all of our other offices as well, but this is money that Ms. Jackson has in her budget that she can just reappropriate. And so we will ask to suspend the rules next Monday night to hear 25-3. Any questions? Seeing no, what? Commissioner Woodruff, you have a question?
No, sir. I thought I'd raise it. It's not.
Okay, we're good. Commissioners, you'll see on your agenda next under our reports under the county mayor appointments. This will require commission approval to the Personnel Advisory Committee. Commissioner Tangi Smith appointed to replace Commissioner Loretta Bryant for a 2-year term to expire May 2022. Commissioner Lisa Pritchard appointed to replace Commissioner Carmel Chandler for a 2-year term to expire May 2022. And Commissioner Brandon Butts appointed to replace Commissioner Rashida Leverett for a 2-year term to expire May 2022. Also under reports, you'll see our commission meetings dated February 13th, 2020, and the county clerk's report and notary list. Without objection, these 3 items will be on the consent agenda. You'll see under your reports filed the driver safety quarterly report. And just 3 quick things. As you recall, 2 months ago, or a month ago, we deferred the workhouse resolution. That was actually the budget committee has deferred it twice. And because of the legal precedent that it sets, Sheriff Fuson in our budget hearing today, he requested that we bring that forward. So we will ask that the resolution regarding the workhouse will come forward, and it's really about the operation of the workhouse, whether or not the county mayor will do it or whether the sheriff will do it. And we will get that resolution to you hopefully by tomorrow. I think we should have it by tomorrow from the sheriff's office. And then just a reminder to please try to promote the 2020 census. We're only at a 55% participation rate at this time. And it's very important. It means a lot of money to Montgomery County. So anything that you can do to help us promote the 2020 census would be greatly appreciated. And then lastly, the budget committee today wrapped up all of our budget hearings. It's been a very quick, stringent process that we've been through. We've made some really, really tough decisions, and we will be having a roundtable on May the 20th at 5 p.m. It is my intention to have that in the commission chambers in person. Unless something drastically changes, we can create social distancing. We can protect everybody, and we can have a very good discussion with a lot of detailed information, hopefully for you. I'm going to do my best to send you a summary of what we've done as just a snapshot to you, and I'm going to try to do that tomorrow via email. So I hope you will be on the lookout for that. And without unless anybody has any questions or any comments, any questions or comments from anyone? No, you see none? Commissioners, thank you. Thank you for putting up with this process. And I wish all of you well, and we will adjourn. Thank you.